As it turns out, it's a loop trail.
Welcome back. An unusual move. I'm not playing with a roulette. I'm actually heading in a specific direction. Could call it work, could call it online shopping, and going to make the best of that situation. So I decided, because the weather was reasonable-ish in this direction, instead of paying courier fees, I would spend 15 times that in fuel to go half the distance. 2 campsite options tonight. One is a little bit further than the other. One I can have fire, one I cannot. But given that it's 7 o'clock and I'm not at camp, not entirely sure on the fire scenario. So I'm going to have a look at the first campsite and see how that looks. Okay, called it. I don't know that the next campsite is going to be any better. I'm trying to think that it can't be much less appealing than that. Well, we're back onto the motorway and about half an hour.
Exit the roundabout onto the ramp.
Not the worst campsite I've been at, but it's also not all that inspiring. I believe there is places you can have fire, so I might search those out tomorrow. But for the moment, no cares cuisine. So it's reasonably busy and there's not a huge amount of privacy, but should be a base for the night, and it actually looks like it might get a reasonable sort of sunset out there as well. If I manage to hide behind the Land Rover like that, looks even better because you can't see other people. Morning. An unusual move. Been doing research into my day and found that my loosely veiled plan isn't going to work because buses replace trains. Going to throw down some breakfast and investigate the other possibilities. Looks like it's going to be a nice day, so hopefully going to get some photos. So at this point, keep things interesting. I'm going to depart from the former railway line and head up to Back Road. Gotta say, I enjoyed that.
The climb up back road was definitely worth it for the descent. It's actually not that much longer, but definitely makes it a little more interesting. So this side's where the actual Remutaka incline begins, and you can drop down to Cross Creek, which was another set of yards, and carry on. Either do the Wild Coast loop or out to Featherston, jump on the train into Wellington. So I'm going to turn around and go back because buses replace trains. Heading back via Goat Rock Road, which has been a good steady climb up, but it looks like it might be at the summit of that now. Not at the summit of Goat Rock, however, but very peaceful, which is fantastic. Well, that's a bonus. Looking at maps and trying to decide my next move, and found the track that I'm going to do this afternoon. It takes me from the Remutaka rail trail back to the campsite, not on Highway 2 like I came in. As long as you don't mind good amounts of gorse. As it turns out, it's a loop trail. It doesn't actually go back to the campsite. Just had a quick scout around at the campsites beside the river where you can have fire, and they're pretty full, they're pretty busy, so well, this isn't ideal, and it's got no view, it's got some privacy and it's quiet, so I'm just going to settle in here and chill out. It's a good ride and a good few loops to tick off that have been on my list for a while, but also found a few things that I may or may not have known were there that I'll quite possibly come back to in the future. It's a bit of a wet morning this morning, which the forecast said it would be, so gonna hide inside and have a coffee. I'm not quite sure what today's gonna bring. May head home, also may head into Wellington, but I think the weather's terrible in there. I don't really think it's a good use of time or resources catching the train in to not do much. So it looks like the rain set in everywhere for the day, which is a bugger. All in all, that wasn't the worst campsite I've ever stayed at. I actually really feel like I could stay away for a few more days this time, which is awkward. A little bit of a funny to end the video. Got home, went to go and get something for work. 1 block down the road, now the Land Rover's not running properly. Distributor cap's given up and I've got to wait for a new one, so confined to the bike. But the odds of getting home with it running perfectly, almost, are just unbelievable.